Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito.
Do you get scared by films?
I mean, when I was a kid, there were a few films that really wrecked me. Brian De Palma's Carrie really upset me in a very, very deep way. I watched the film, wasn't that upset by it. I was like, oh, that was good. And then it was when I tried going to bed that, the images were really not going away, and then they were getting worse. I think that's where I realized the power of the image. And then
This is Ari Aster, the director of Hereditary. In my last video, I intentionally did mention something else that makes his movie stand out as scary. Instead of using the tiring jump scare, he uses, as he says, the power of image to creep us out. With the tense mood, the music nailing our nerves, the camera never moving, forcing us to watch the most gruesome images that are much scarier than a simple jump scare. This might be a very strange comparison, but Ari Aster, me. What do we have in common? We find Carrie creepy! Just as Aster, I wasn't scared by the first time viewing Carrie. Then the more I saw it, the more I let those images sink in, the more it made an effect on me. So for the most part, I'll be focusing on the third act of the movie as I explain how the image of Carrie made an effect on me. But first, it is said that an image is worth 1,000 words. In other words, an image means nothing. That's how painter Sebastian Guerrini would put it more likely. Images have no power. We give power to images because we need them as a means of communication. At the end of the day, an image is just a piece of paper or a screenshot from a social device. But it's our relationship we have with the image that can make us react emotionally as we give it purpose and meaning, whether if it's a portrait, a captured image, or a symbol. Political artists have used the power of image to satire leaders and political events. A simple image as raising a hand can give a sense of freedom and empowerment from the oppressors. An image like Princess Diana's funeral can be a powerful image that brings sorrow. Heroic figures like Batman and Superman can be symbols of hope and fear to corruption.
What's the S stand for?
It's not an S. In my world, it means hope.
He's a symbol. We don't have to be afraid of scum like you. Yeah.
Then there are those images that frighten us. Images that have connection to our most traumatic experiences, images that creep us out, or symbols that are meant to cause fear to oppositions like swastikas, symbols of ancient Viking magic, crosses, when before were a symbol of redemption and more an image of how Romans were experts in torture. Images of nature that are devastating can be terrifying as a tornado, or an image that we might find disgusting as gore, or animals as spiders or rats. The image that Mario Tosi, the cinematographer, gave to Carrie was the use of exaggerated expressions, the use of bright colors and gothic colors to invoke a fear of humiliation, of bullying, of religion, and our loss for control. The movie was based on Stephen King's first novel he ever published, though it wasn't his first book he ever wrote. Carrie is one of the most tragic figures in literature and on film. The book tackles the repercussions of bullying and how far can it go, same as how far can a victim take so much abuse until he or she snaps. We sympathize for Carrie because she never has a moment of break from any of her tormentors. She's abused at home by her zealot religious mother. Throughout her school life, she's been the target of bullying, mockery, humiliation. She's a social outcast by the kids and even the adults. Later, she discovers that she has telekinetic powers, which gives her the confidence to stand up to her mother and start a normal teenage life. But when one of the pranks goes too far, it breaks havoc as it exposes a horrific side of Carrie we've never seen before. The movie has become iconic for that last third act, where it gets more intense, more creepy, and more uncomfortable. The same level of unsettledness hasn't been reduplicated since then. It's been tried though, but with little success. When it comes to horror, I don't usually get scared by them. Yeah, I may get a jump scare, but they never make an impact on me. Yet for some reason, Carrie made a number on me, and I couldn't understand why. Then I realized how effective it is. The power of the eye image. The eyes are what tell us everything. What do we feel? What are our intentions? The more expressive the eyes are, the more they give an uncanny valley sense. Tim Burton is known for overexpressing his eyes in his movies that often look creepy. Shout out to the next creepy movie of this year. But it's more frightening when the villain exaggerates its eyes. Whether they're wide open or yellow, they let us know that they have bad intentions. No one is safe around them and we should fear them. This image alone is what didn't let me sleep at nights. There was a time when I couldn't look at it without jumping out of fear. That emotionless face of shock, those eyes that looked up to freeze you with fear, her body covered up in blood. When I see this picture, I don't see a poor little girl crying for the love of a mother or a friend. I see an empty vessel that has been filled by something more, something that has no compassion or empathy, something that isn't human. Behind this innocence lies beneath something much darker and unnatural. A killer from the depths of hell who shows no sign of satisfaction from the carnage she's done. This image is horrifying because this can be anybody in a worst case of scenario. Our innocence long gone once we snap, replacing it instead by an empty shallow of a monster, of a witch. Knowing what's in her eyes, a bloodthirst for revenge, makes everything else following her state of mind as unsettling. Just as when the doors of the gym open up, revealing from the flaming screams a dark shadow walking slowly as if it were the Reaper, coming out of hell looking for more victims to claim. This other scene is not scary, but is visually gothic. When she's walking towards her house, her crooked hand movement and her oily hair gives her a look of a mistreated, broken doll, who is answering the call of her master to be mistreated once again.
Carrie?
The eye image gives us an idea of what the character is truly thinking. Now, if you were to cover up the image's eyes, it wouldn't be as intimidating because you can't see their eyes to determine if they're threatening. Now, if you were to cover up the whole face and only reveal the eyes, they can still make the same effect as if the image wasn't covered up at all. The eye image is expressed once again on the bully's close-up, where she expresses her anxious anticipation to pull the bucket that she can almost taste the satisfying mockery that she will unleash. The other usage of the eyes that is done effectively is in the religious aspect, where Carrie's forced to pray to a disgusting image of Jesus in agony that actually looks like a witch. But its eyes are so bright and highlighted, as if it were watching us with all the cold hate and anger that is filled inside the disturbing religious views of her mother. The religious image is also a symbolic meaning of Margaret's twisted view about her religion, as she literally ends up getting crucified exactly like the figure. Margaret is not far from being intimidating. I mean, in the book, she sounded terrifying. She's a religious nut who was traumatized by the rape of her husband, leaving her alone and pregnant. Her worldview became distorted as she viewed the conception of Carrie as a sin who was destined for condemnation. She would mistreat her, abuse her, lock her up in a closet, sometimes for days with the purpose of saving her soul. Going back to the usage of the eye, after Carrie comes back from the prom, we don't see her mother make much eye contact with her. Even the camera has them far away, distant from each other, going from one angle to the other, meaning that Margaret has disconnected any maternal feelings for Carrie, and when she does make eye contact with Carrie, it's for the sole purpose of killing her. But she enjoys it. She's dancing at the idea that she's about to kill what she views as a sin, when in fact it was just a poor child with tragic circumstances. As the years have gone by, the movie has aged a bit campy. It's not the greatest scary movie of all time, but it is one that has its print on it, and surely has a print on me, as you can tell it did to Aster. It knew how to use the image for its advantage that can give you nightmares. But other times, it is beautiful to look at. Sometimes it's beautifully shot, sometimes it's beautifully over the top, and sometimes it's just beautifully creepy.
I need to check there's nothing behind the camera. Oh look, it's up. Gotta get rid of it, or else there would be trouble. Do you have any idea how hard it was to edit this video without looking at those horrible images in that screen? It even got to the point that my sweat was out of control, that I had to collect it in this small bucket so I didn't have to make a mess. Feeling a little thirsty right now. Aha! Tune in next time, because when I get back, I'll be talking about something that will finally let me sleep at nights. Michael Myers, as I asked the question, is Halloween a metaphor for rape? So for now, that's it for today. Ciao!
Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum.